Good day, EDF 122 Biological Psychology. I am Dr. A.Y. Fashino, your course facilitator for the course. Now, I'm going to start with study section 1, and that is biological basis for human behavior. I repeat, biological basis for human behavior. Now, biological psychology is very, very important in human development. This course attempts to explain the mechanisms that occur in thought and processing. Now, in this course, you'll be exposed to the principles of biological psychology, then different structure and functions of the nervous system. Now, the module has 10 study sections. There are in-text questions followed by in-text answers, which will aid your learning. After you have studied this study section, that is at the end of today's lesson, you should be able to define the term biological psychology, explain the relationship between biological psychology and education, then describe the relationship between biological psychology and other disciplines. Now, what is concept of biological psychology? What do we understand by biological psychology? What is biological psychology? Now, it is a scientific study of how body structure, the function, primarily the nervous system, can affect behavior characteristics of an organism. That is the scientific study of human behavior. Let's put it that way so that we understand. It is simply the scientific study of human behavior. Biological psychologists, they tend to study human behavior. That is, they want to know why human beings are behaving the way they are doing. It's concerned how human biological makeup affects the way human beings behave. That is our body system, how it affects our behavior. Because most of the importance in the way we behave, it has connection with our body mechanism. That is the makeup of our body. Then in this course, we are looking at how biological makeup affects learning in children and adolescents. Relevance of biological psychology to education. Relevance of biological psychology to education. First and foremost, what is education? Education is all-round development. That is the method of modifying human behavior. When we notice that psychology is the study of human behavior. Now, education is the modification of human behavior, how to modify human behavior. Let's look at the curriculum, for instance. Now, curriculum is the totality of the learning experience in the education system. It's the totality of learning experience. Now, in planning the curriculum, we need to consider the age of the child, the attitude, the capability and interest of the child. That is, it has to be a learner-centered curriculum. In doing this, we need to understand the principles of psychology. That is very, very important. That is why we say biological psychology is related to education. Secondly, how do we identify the gifted children? As teachers in the classroom now, we need to identify, because we have different types of children in the classroom. We have the underachievers, we have the gifted children, we need to identify these children. Now, that means a teacher or an educationist needs knowledge of psychology to be able to do this. That is why biological psychology is related to education. Now, also, it enhances better student participation. What do I mean by that? A teacher will want to group the students into different ability groups. Without the knowledge of biological psychology, it will be difficult for such a teacher. So it's very, very important. By so doing, the students will perform better, and then it will help them in their learning. So also, most of the philosophers, the great philosophers in education like Aristotle, and then the pioneers of education like Jean Piaget, all of them, they emphasize the principles of psychology. That is, they said education must be based on psychology principle. It must have a psychological basis. Now, relevance of biological psychology to other disciplines. Biological psychology is related to other disciplines. It's related to the other disciplines that seek to understand the why of behavior. Other disciplines like psychiatry, molecular biology, neurology, all of them, they all tend to find out why human beings behave the way they do. For instance, in medicine now, we have disease like mood disorder. Those diseases that can affect, it has biological undertone, because before the person start behaving the way a psychiatric person now, it must have been an impairment of the brain. That is it. So very, very important. Biological psychology is related to this all other disciplines, that is finding out why human beings are behaving the way they behave, the neurology, the psychiatry, and others. Now, today's lesson, we have looked at biological psychology, which is a scientific study of human behavior. We have also looked at psychology, which is the study of human behavior, while education is the process of modifying that human behavior. You can see the correlation. Psychology is the study of human behavior, while education is the process of modifying human behavior, both trying to modify behavior. Now, psychology is used as a tool to understand the complexities of different academic disciplines. Like we have mentioned, I mentioned the neurology, psychiatry, molecular biology, all those disciplines. Psychology is used to understand the complexity of those different disciplines. At the end of today's lesson, I think, and I know you will be able to answer these questions. 1, define the term biological psychology. Define the term biological psychology. 2, explain the relationship between biological psychology and education. Explain the relationship between biological psychology and education. 3, describe the relationship between biological psychology and other disciplines. Thank you.